If you want to experience getting your hand raised more often and standing on the top of a podium with a big gold medal around your neck, you need to lock in on these 7 key mindset principles. The first one is the balance between perfectionism and cowboy mindset. Perfectionism, that's someone who is doing everything right. Maybe that's you. You're eating right, you're sleeping on time, you're going to all the workouts. But when it comes to competition, because you're doing everything right, you feel like you've built up all this pressure like you have to win, and you end up freezing up in competition and not performing at your best. A cowboy mindset tends to be with people that maybe aren't doing everything right. Maybe they're staying up playing video games a little bit. Maybe even if they're in college, they're going to parties. And when it comes to competing, they end up being more relaxed. They're letting it all fly because they're like, I got nothing to lose. That cowboy riding a bull type of mindset, right? The key thing is you want a balance of both. You want to physically be doing what the perfectionist does, eating right, sleeping right, training right, but you want to have a mindset like a cowboy. You're going to wrestle free, you're going to attack, you're going to be offensive, you're not going to worry about the outcome. So that's my first tip for you guys. Train like a perfectionist, have the mindset of a cowboy. I want to take a few seconds to talk to those wrestlers out there that are serious about making fast improvement. If you want to improve your technique quick, improve your mindset quick, and get to the top of the podium this upcoming season, you're going to want to check out the Iron Faith Academy. Join over 8,000 members who are dedicated to improving their wrestling and their coaching. If you're interested in getting a 7-day free trial into the Academy, just click the link in the description or the pinned comment at the top, and I'll see you guys inside. Number 2, you need to be self-motivated. You can't rely on your coaches to be your only source of motivation. If you are missing practices and you need your coach to be on top of you, you're going to never be able to get to where you want to be. Yes, sometimes you need a coach, a friend to push you along, but if you want to reach the top of your game, you need to have a mindset of self-motivation. You need to have your own goals. You need to be doing it for yourself. Yes, when you're younger, you may be doing it for your parents or your coach, or even because you just want to get some ice cream after practice. But as you get older, you mature more, you need to become more self-motivated. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, you need to have grit and discipline. When things get hard, when the practice gets tough, you cannot be lazy. You have to continue to do your technique perfect, to do it with 100% effort, to not let things fade out as practice goes on. As the years go on of training, you need to continue to not only maintain, but improve your intensity. Be able to push yourself harder. If you do not have grit, you are not going to be able to win those close matches and beat people that maybe you shouldn't beat. A lot of times in my matches, I may not have been the most technical wrestler or had my timing down perfect, but I was able to use my grit and my discipline to stay in a good stance and to push these guys into the third period and win a lot of matches where I was down by points because I was able to push through the pain, through all the feelings of maybe throwing up or having a headache or my arm hurting. So having grit is going to be super, super important if you guys want to have that champion mindset. Number 4, you have to be competitive. During the live portions of practice, you need to compete. Have fun, enjoy it, but compete. You can't give up an easy takedown. If someone takes you down, you should feel a little something inside you, a little something that's going to push you to wanting to get after it and take that person down. You shouldn't be getting beat up in a practice or in a match and not wanting to ramp up your intensity. A competitiveness is wanting to beat your opponent, wanting to win. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win. You need to be wrestling at your best. It's your job to wrestle at your best and to try your hardest. And if you aren't trying to win, you're not trying your hardest. So don't be afraid to be competitive, to want to win, to push the pace, but don't let that desire to win let you freeze, make it push you to score more points and to be more aggressive. Number 5, you need to be coachable. What that means is if a coach tells you something, you need to take that in. You need to see if that makes sense for your guys' wrestling system and make the adjustments. If you have a coach you don't trust, you need to find a new coach. Buy into their system, believe in what they're telling you, whether they've been there or they've taken other people to where you want to be. You need to find a coach you believe in, trust them, and listen to what they're saying. Change your technique if they're telling you to change your technique. If they're telling you you need to show up to more practices or put more work in, you're going to be the type of guy to say, yes, coach, get it done, put the extra work in, and make the adjustments. You're not going to be the wrestler where the coach tells you to be more offensive, to attack more during live, and you just don't do anything different than the day before. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have to ask questions. I like wrestlers who are curious. When a coach tells you, hey, I want you to try this setup, you can ask why. Asking why is totally fine. But are you willing to change and adapt as you're being coached in the wrestling process? Number 6, which I just touched on, a curiosity mindset. One that wants to learn and understand the sport more. This can be best explained by the story that my coach told me about Kyle Dake. 4-time national champ, one of the best wrestlers in the country. And my head coach at Drexel University was Kyle Dake's assistant coach. So Kyle Dake was a sophomore, already multiple, or at least a 1-time national champ. My coach was moving in as an assistant at Cornell. My head coach never won a national title, didn't even All-American. He made blood rounds, right? And when he first met Kyle Dake continually asked, what could I do differently? What do you think about this position? How could I change this? He wasn't going in with an ego, I'm better than this guy, I'm better than these coaches, I've accomplished more. He wanted to continue to learn and pick from anybody that was willing to help him out. And he wasn't just waiting for people, he was asking. And I have a couple wrestlers like this. One of my wrestlers, Matthew, who constantly comes up to me after every practice with a list of a couple things he has questions about. And that's the kid who is jumping levels. So be curious with your wrestling, asking questions with your coaches, trying to learn as much as possible. And I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you have that mindset locked in. Moving on to the 7th key mindset principle, you need to take ownership of your own wrestling. Another word for this is accountability. Stop blaming the referee for why you lost the match. Even if it's true, even if the referee was the reason you lost the match, it should have been a takedown, time was not out. You cannot change that. You can't pick who's reffing your matches. Instead, if you want to improve quickly, you want to reach your goals, you should be looking at what things could I change differently in my training. Could I train harder? Could I go to more practices? Am I fooling around during practices? Should I stay after an extra 15 minutes and talk to the coach about my technique? What specific techniques am I doing wrong? I struggle on bottom, let me focus on that. I got scored on in this position, let me focus on that. That's where my mind should be pushing to. Was my weight cut good? Do I need to increase my cardio and do some extra runs? That is, again, the focus. Now, it's not wrong to think of things outside yourself that you might need to change. You may, in drastic situations, you may have to change to a different high school, change to a different college, change your training partner. But normally I want to focus on myself because that's the quickest thing you can change. And it's not super drastic, right? You don't have to pull yourself out of a high school and go to a different high school, which may or may not even have a better coach or a better training partner. So those are the 7 key principles. If you want to lock in on your mindset even more, check out my video on Christian wrestling mindset, why so many national champs are somehow Christian and what that means. And I'll see you guys in the next video.